A very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for making time to join us on KBC Lunchtime News. My name is Betty Kiptum and Lucy Moura is my colleague on the sign language interpretation. Now, our top story today is on matters corruption, where the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has revealed that the average bribe received by police officers has increased by 84%. The EACC chair, Dr. David Oginde, is currently speaking at that particular event where that survey is being released. Let's listen into that.
Who are you? So I didn't tell him who I was. He went later and asked the guard at the gate, "Ni nani huyu?" So he was told. Then he changed. And then he thanked me for being simple. I was so impressed because that whole process took not more than 1.5 hours. I've been told that sometimes it can take a very long time. People ask you for all kinds of things. But I was so happy that our police force, police service, is actually serving wananchi. As an ordinary human person, I was served. Within a short time, that matter was sorted out and the body of my mother was taken. If I had got another person who is taking you here and there and the other place, I would be telling a different story. But that's the different story I want to tell you, to answer my brother on the givers and takers. I was in another situation where I needed police help. And I went to the police station. This is again last year. I think it was August. This other one was in November. So in August, I went to a police station. I needed this service. And the officer I found there said, "This one, only the OCS can help you." So I said, "Okay, let him help me." You know, there's a he or a she. So, but the person I was dealing with, the officer, was a lady. Made a call in my presence. "Oh, there's this person here, they have this and that." Again, they didn't identify me and I didn't identify myself. "Is this person here and there? Needs this and this?" Then, whatever the person on the end of the phone said, she told me, "Amesema ulete 10,000. I said, 10,000 for what? Is that the cost of the service? Hapana, unajua tu mambo hapa, unajua tu. I asked, "Will I get a receipt for?" Hapana, receipt ya nini? Hii ni ya OCS too, you know. So I said, "No, I don't deal like that." So kapiga tena. Huyu amekataa. So I don't know what she was told. So she told me, "Go and wait out there." So I went out and stood in the compound. So as I was standing there in the compound, I was not told what to do. Nikaambiwa tu usimame, uko nje. Nikaenda nikasimama, uko nje. So when I was standing out there, I had another lady officer also came. So I told this lady, "Huyu anafanya nini pale?" So I don't know what I could, because I was not too close. He said, "Unamjua huyu?" So he was told, "Ya, kuja." "Ulikuwa unasema nini?" And I was processed very, very quickly. So there are times when these things are demanded. If I was willing to pay, I would have paid, because I needed the service to be processed quickly. If I had money, by the way, so I did not refuse to pay because I didn't have money. And I can tell you, I have been in many instances, I've never paid a bribe. I would rather suffer the consequences. But there are many other Kenyans who do not have that luxury of time and the internal resolve not to do the wrong thing. How can we help them as a police service. I've given you the good and the bad. And I have met very many good officers whose only job, only spirit, only commitment is to do the right thing. And there are many. But there are also some. I won't tell you one that insisted. I said, I'm a pastor, I can't give you. He said, even, Apana, yeah, that one also told me. He said, even the rats in the church, they also eat from there. This guy was not willing to give up, but I refused completely. So there's those kinds.
That is Dr. David Oginde, who is the chairperson at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, at the start of a survey into the National Police Service, which will examine the systems and policies as well as procedures and practices of the service. And it's set to look at systemic weaknesses and policies or other loopholes that encourage corruption in the Kenya police operations. And that particular survey is supposed to take place up until the 18th of July, when the report will be handed over to the Inspector General of Police for more reforms to continue. Now we move to the Bomas of Kenya, where the Orange Democratic Movement, that's the ODM party, is having a special prayer service for Right Honorable Raila Odinga, who is scheduled to depart for Addis Ababa in Ethiopia for the election of the commission, the African Union Commission chairperson, where he is a candidate. Of course, those particular elections will be happening on Saturday this week. And AUC chair position is what Raila Odinga is going for. That is George Aladwa speaking there at the Bomas of Kenya, where the ODM party is holding prayers as they send over Raila Odinga to that particular election in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, which will be happening on Saturday. And from the Bomas of Kenya, we move on to other news this afternoon, where mothers of children with disabilities in Mpeketoni area, Lamu County, are calling for urgent intervention to improve living conditions and ensure their children get access to basic needs, which include education. The mothers say that they have been subject to neglect and abandonment by their partners upon delivery, and they are forced to live in hardship and languish in poverty.
As they say, necessity is the mother of invention. These mothers who have been abandoned by their partners because of giving birth to children with different forms of disability have been forced to find ways of providing for their families.
Watoto wetu ndio wameremaa na wakiremaa wanalemaza familia. Na kulisha watoto hawa wengine ama kusomesha inakuwa ni kazi zito.
This strain has forced them to seek intervention of government and well-wishers.
Unapata mama ako na ujauzito, alafu anapoenda kujifungua atajifungua vizuri, lakini baadaye utapata mtoto ni mlemavu. Hapo unapata bwana ya huyu mwanamke anatoroka, anawacha mama na mtoto. Ombi langu ni kwamba serikali kama mnaweza ingilia kati, mwanaume kama huyo kwanza achukuliwe hatua.
They argue that despite the government's effort to support vulnerable groups, they say the assistance they receive is insufficient. They have also called for the establishment of residential facilities and a specialized school for children with disabilities in Mpeketoni area, as many of these children are unable to access education.
Wito wangu kwa serikali tupate mahali watuletee hata kama ni home au watoto wale hawawezi kabisa wawekwe pale, na wale wanaweza kufanya kitu at least wasaidiwe na hiyo vifaa.
Parsai Frederick, Lunchtime News.
Now, a unique movement that uses music as a tool for environmental conservation is gaining momentum in Malindi, Kilifi County. Working as a music band, it uses recycled materials to make musical instruments, hence reinforcing their commitment to environmental conservation.
an upcoming music band in Malindi, Kilifi County, is using talent to spread awareness about the importance of maintaining a clean and sustainable environment. In a creative and eco-friendly twist, Rogers Odhiambo Osiro, popularly known by his stage name Osiro Music, together with members of his band, uses recycled materials to make musical instruments. Osiro says that passion for a greener Malindi led him to join the Progressive Welfare Association of Malindi, a non-governmental organization dedicated to environmental conservation through monthly cleanup exercises. Volunteers also get entertained with live music performances during these cleanups, making the events not only productive but also lively and engaging.
Kama mwanamuziki, mimi ni kioo cha jamii, na hata hivi sasa ndio maana unaona tuko na nyimbo za kuhamasisha ni jinsi gani unaweza ukatunza miti, ukatunza environment, ukaweza kuendana na mazingira, ukaweza kusafisha. Tumeandika nyimbo kama hizo.
Beyond environmental conservation, the band also tackles pressing social issues through their music.
Tuko na nyimbo za kuhamasisha against GBV, gender-based violence, na tuko na nyimbo pia za kuhamasisha vijana kuachana na masuala ya mihadarati.
For Lunchtime News, I am Teresa Mutai.
That is an encouraging story there by Teresa Mutai. Now, youth and civil society groups have been encouraged to stand up and champion for better leadership within the democratic space and law. Speaking at Kamukunji Grounds, Kibera Branch, Bunge la Mwananchi President Francis Awino urged Kenyans to stand up and demand accountability from their leaders that they elected into office to ensure better service delivery to citizens.
Najua kulingana na Article 1 of the Kenyan Constitution, wa Kenya including members of the Bunge la Wananchi Kenya mzima wako na power, na hii power at this time ndio tunatumia kuhakikisha kwamba the service delivery to the wananchi it is done comprehensively.
Tukishajitambua kama bunge la wananchi na kama wananchi wa chini, tutatoa msimamo wetu, tuseme tumekuwa tukitumika kwa muda mrefu, imefika wakati ambapo tunasema kama wananchi enough is enough.
And to Murang'a County now, where residents have raised concerns over the new health insurance scheme, that is the Social Health Insurance Fund, saying there is an urgent need to streamline services in the Ministry of Health. Residents highlighted the need for the two levels of governments to enhance the quality of services in hospitals. During a free medical camp in Karunge village, residents were urged to embrace regular medical checkups to ensure early diagnosis of diseases. The call has been made on separate medical camps in Mathioya and Kiharu constituencies.
I encourage our leaders, their families and their caregivers to prioritize routine health screening and well checkups as part of our historic approach to health aging.
It's important for us to be checked regularly so that we can be able to know what kind of diseases we are suffering from.
Kwale County Governor Fatuma Achani has announced the suspension of bursary issuance in the county following a High Court order which was prompted by a petition from the Katiba Institute. Speaking at the county headquarters in Matuga Sub-County, Governor Achani explained that the court action stems from a directive by the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, which stated that bursary issuance is not among the devolved functions outlined in the 4th schedule of the Constitution of Kenya. Achani noted that the bursary program under the Elimu ni Sasa initiative launched in 2013 has been instrumental in transforming the lives of many students from disadvantaged backgrounds.
Watu wengi ambao wanaendelea kupiga vita masuala ya bursary kwa counties. Kwa hivyo tunaomba wananchi wa Kwale tuwe wavumilivu, lakini vile vile tuendelee kuweka kwa maombi, kwa sababu tunajua bursary ikiondolewa, wale watoto wetu ambao wako national schools, wako secondary schools, wako universities, wengi watashindwa warudi nyumbani kwa sababu ya hali za kifedha. Lakini kwa sasa hivi kwa wale ambao walijaza forms za bursary na wanangoja checks zao za bursary, hatuwezi kupeana sasa hivi kwa sababu controller hajaweza kutuaprovia hizo mgao huo.
Tulianza kupata barua kutoka kwa control of budget kwamba si sheria kwamba serikali gatuzi itowe bursary. Leo hii baada ya miaka 13 ndio wamegundua kwamba si shughuli ya serikali za ugatuzi.
Now, the government will inject more than 18 billion shillings to fund the ongoing Isiolo-Kulamawe-Modagashe Road facelifting in its quest to boost economic growth in the northeastern region. The move is part of government's plan to connect Isiolo and Mandera counties in a bid to enhance access and trade with the neighboring countries of Somalia and Ethiopia.
Dubbed the Horn of Africa Gateway Development Project, will see the upgrading of at least 205 kilometers of road to bitumen standards. The road network will cover the stretch from Isiolo to Modagashe, including the Garbatula Town Loop Road, consisting 7 meters wide and 2 meters shoulder on both sides. So far, the Isiolo-Kulamawe Road upgrade, which will cost a total of 7.9 billion shillings, is at a physical progress of 54.29%, while that of Kulamawe-Modagashe, which is expected to cost 11.01 billion shillings, stands at 41.7%. The project, which is set for completion in March 2026, will also involve the installation of fiber optic cables and the provision of various social infrastructure amenities, including bus bays, road furniture and street lighting to enhance accessibility in the region. President William Ruto, in his development tour of the northeastern part of Kenya, noted his government is committed to enhance fair and equitable sharing of the national resources for all regions in the country.
Na hiyo barabara tumeweka pesa ya serikali bilioni 100 kutengeneza hiyo barabara, na hii barabara kutoka hapa mpaka ifike pale Modagashe itakamilika ikifika mwaka ujao. Kutengeneza hiyo barabara, na hii barabara kutoka hapa mpaka ifike pale Modagashe itakamilika ikifika mwaka ujao.
John Kahiro for Lunchtime News.
Widows living in different areas in Nyanza County have received housing and financial support through a private foundation that seeks to empower widows. According to Raymond Omolo Foundation Program Coordinator, that is Vitalis Ogendo, the initiative that is under the Widows Empowerment Program aims to ease the struggles widows face in the society. He stated that the program's goal is to restore hope for widows and their families by providing housing, financial support to start businesses and bursaries.
Nilikuwa nalala hata na nyoka kwa nyumba. Bwanangu alikufa 2006 mpaka saa hii. Naangaika na watoto. Nikiosha mtu hata nguo ndio naweza pata hata shilingi 200. Ndio nalipa school fees. Hata saa hii watoto walepita, wanaenda university. Na china sina chochote.
We've constructed houses in all the counties in Nyanza. The group, every time we make group visit, we give them city money to help them in their table banking activities. That is one of the things that we've been trying to do, at least to try to improve their lives.
The non-governmental organizations trade union in Kenya has voiced its support to the financial restrictions imposed by the United States government under President Donald Trump administration, citing inefficiencies in aid distribution by U.S. aid. Speaking at a forum in Homa Bay County, the union's Secretary General John Gilbertson raised concerns over the mismanagement of funds meant for Kenya's development. He stated that significant financial allocations for key projects have gone underutilized, resulting in stalled initiatives and unmet promises. He, however, urged county governments to better manage development funds and ensure that external aid is used effectively.
We want to commend President Donald Trump of the United States of America for temporarily withholding funds that, in his opinion, were being mismanaged, and the evidence of misappropriation, inefficient use of both financial and human resources. Because in some cases, funds intended for development initiatives were instead misdirected for personal gain, fostering corruption rather than serving the intended purpose.
Now, the construction of the 40-kilometer Kiambiriria-Chepsir Road has brought economic and social transformation to residents of Kuresoi North in Kericho County, with farmers and traders already reaping the benefits of improved infrastructure. With over 30% of the 1.6 billion shilling project completed, the road is set to boost trade and agricultural productivity for farmers, thus enhancing economic development in the area.
Tinga itakuwa ni ya kusafirisha ama kulima kwenye mashamba na kazi zingine. Sababu barabara kama hii ikiweza kupatikana yenye imekata katikati ya constituency yetu, ni furaha tele. Sisi nataka sasa wawekezaji wakanakaribishwa area hii ya Kuresoi, mkuje muwekeze hapa. Tuna ukulima wa viazi ambayo tunataka pia ifanyiwe value addition.
Tumeteseka sana. Imagine hata mtu akiwa mgonjwa tulikuwa tunaweka mkokoteni tunapeleka hospitali. Ama tunatafuta kitu kama punda tufikisha pale Kanjo ndio aenda mwana hospitali. Lakini sasa hizi vile tumeona hii lami imekuja na barabara zingine hizi ndogo imetengenezwa huku, tunafurahi sana.
Hiyo ndio tunashukuru sana kwa sababu sasa hakuna mabroka ya viazi watakuwa wakikuja watuambia ati wakamwangi leta nini? Leta 200. Ati viazi tutakuwa tukilete hapa.
Now, university students have been urged to embrace changing technologies to better their chances in the ever-evolving job market. Speaking during a roundtable and a public lecture at Zitech University in Ruiru, academicians reiterated that the integration of new technology in their day-to-day activities would open new opportunities to young people, enhancing global competitiveness through technological innovations.
Being the aspect of critical thinking, believing or trying to reach out for infinite intelligence should be embraced not only in primary schools, not only in nursery school, primary schools, secondary schools, universities, but it should also be embraced at places of work.
We encourage students to exploit their potential in everything, not only the academic programs that they are undertaking here, but also in other areas.
The students to embrace the knowledges, to embrace what they have had, use their time well in critical thinking, use their finances well. It is only this time that they're gonna be doing what they are. After that, they cross over to being mamas like us.
Health stakeholders drawn from Narok County are calling for an end to stigma and cultural misconceptions surrounding persons with epilepsy. While staging a sensitization walk as the world marks the International Epilepsy Day today, the medics say that stigma and discrimination has denied epileptic persons access to proper medical care and support that could help them manage the condition.
As the world marks International Epilepsy Day today, various health stakeholders in Narok County organized a walk to raise awareness and sensitize the community about the condition.
Tumekuwa watu wa ignorance, kwamba tunaficha watoto, tunaficha wale watu ambao wako na kifafa, kwa sababu watu wengi wanasema ni mambo ya uchawi, lakini sio hivyo.
The medics who participated in the walk spoke against the stigma, discrimination and cultural misconceptions that the persons with the epileptic condition have to endure and that anyone can be a victim.
We have lost many lives, and those are deaths that were preventable if we only knew what we were supposed to do. And our biggest problem has been stigma around epilepsy. So this awareness and this work is very, very important to enlighten our community that epilepsy is part of us, epilepsy is preventable.
Our commitment to doing this work is to have a collaborative action to stamp out epilepsy stigma. We also show our commitment to the people who have epilepsy.
Epilepsy is a neurological disorder characterized by recurrent seizures due to abnormal electrical activity in the brain. It can affect individuals of all ages and may sometimes be caused by genetic factors, brain injury, trauma, prolonged child labor, infections, or unknown reasons. Common symptoms of epilepsy include seizures, loss of consciousness, uncontrolled movements, sudden confusion, and unresponsiveness. Opicho Chemtai for Lunchtime News.
A section of leaders in Kilifi County has accused Kenya Roads Board Chairperson Aisha Jumwa of undermining Governor Gideon Mung'aro. Led by Shela Ward, member of County Assembly Twahir Abdul Karim, the leaders wondered why the former cabinet secretary was trying to divide leadership of the county instead of advocating for unity to spur development. They urged all leaders from the region to work together with elected leaders and implement development projects.
It's too early to do politics ya 2027 sahi. Sahi si time ya siasa. Sahi ni time ya kufanyia watu kazi, maendeleo. Na wananchi wamechoka na siasa ya saa zote. Wananchi wanataka viongozi wafanye kazi, wawajibike katika kufanya kazi. Sisi tunamwambia tu, kazi umepewa, yenye hata sisi pia tulikuwa tunamwombea apate kazi. Ni furaha kuona one of our own kupata position. Lakini wajibikie, aifanyie kazi, ionekane, ili sifa pia ikuwe kwake na kwa kaunti yetu ya Kilifi.
And KBC Lunchtime News takes a quick break now. When we come back, more news including business and sports. Stay with us.
Karibuni. Hii ndio base ya the best local entertainment.
Sitakubali ukalie kiti cha umiliki katika kampuni ya mume wangu.
Tell me where my money is and I'll make this quick and painless.
You don't know what they do to girls like you.
I think it's a very unfair. Nakujua vizuri sana. Na domdosi wangu vizuri sana. Hauwezi akakuandika kazi.
From the bliss of new beginnings to the trials of commitment, this is a celebration of resilience, passion, and the power of togetherness. Join us as we unravel real-life stories, because every journey deserves to be cherished, for better, for worse, on KBC Channel 1.
Katakata hizo vitunguu nyanya moja mbili tatu, alafu then leta maji unaongeza hivyo makuni inaanza kuwa rahisi. Acha buda madam.
Hata amekuandikia ka message hapa inasema dear Ole Matop.
Hiyo ndia naitangwa na watu wa simu peke yake. Nimepata na wewe watoto. Alafu akaolewa na serikali.
Wewe nakwambia luku ya leo. Hii hatari sana buda.
Na hii yako kwani umeconfuse?
Buda, fungua macho. Angalia tuna 3D.
Welcome back. You are watching KBC Lunchtime News. Now, the Gazette notice by the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development declaring the domesticated water buffalo as a food animal in Kenya could see plates filled with meat or cups of tea with milk from this bovine originating from the Indian subcontinent. It is a step towards resource decoupling, as the new species that joins the other sources of animal food is also known for feed efficiency while producing more in terms of meat and milk. Our reporter Judith Akolo seeks to explain how this new development in the livestock sector is the silver bullet towards investment and dietary value.
The Gazette notice announcing the inclusion of the domesticated water buffalo as part of animal food in Kenya raised eyebrows and had the antenna up. Many have wondered if the buffaloes in the game reserves and parks are safe. Others questioned Kenya's quest for biodiversity conservation if the buffalo were to be harvested for food. However, worry not. The domestic water buffalo is a native of the Indian subcontinent and a distant relative of the mbogo in Kenya, yet it is part of the bovine family that the usual cattle also belong to.
Very soon we'll also be introducing a new livestock species, still aligned to our mandate. So we've received inquiries from our farmers.
Through repeated breeding, these animals have been adapted to the natural environment in where they live.
Lately, the impacts of climate change have been manifesting in most ominous ways. When it rains, it comes in storms. When the dry spells set in, they evolve into whole seasons of drought. The net effect of these are the water sources that often dry up while pasture is reduced to spikes and blades in some regions.
It's one that has very excellent feed conversion efficiency. So it's able to convert the little that it's provided, including even the rice straws, to be able to produce milk.
The Kenya Animal Genetic Resources Center is one such institution that has to find solutions. KAGRIC is responsible for producing, preserving, and conserving animal genetic material, and now has the onerous task of providing solutions to livestock keeping in the country.
We will bring in live animals and coupled with semen on the side, to support the establishment of the herd in the country.
The concept of resource decoupling, reducing the rate of use of primary resources per unit of economic activity, and reducing the environmental impact by increasing the profile of animal food sources. This concept is key, hence the need to have the domesticated water buffalo that is known for feed efficiency.
It's quite a resilient breed, and it's quite adapted in terms of surviving in harsh environments, and it's excellent in terms of feed conversion efficiency.
The domesticated water buffalo feeds on vegetative material, including rice stalks, and is able to efficiently digest, producing milk, meat, and its hide is of high value, while its dung is high in organic content, hence can be used as manure. Experts indicate that butterfat from the domesticated water buffalo is of high value at 8%, with low cholesterol against that from cattle, which is about 3%, hence answering to dietary needs of some of the population.
That the buffalo can even eat the rice straws in their hand, and with a very low nutritive value, and still produce quite a lot of milk, and it's low in cholesterol.
It is always good to look at suitable alternatives as a source of butterfat. The cheese that we use on pizza most of it is imported, and the cheese used to prepare pizza, part of the buffalo butterfat, is extremely useful.
Its introduction into the Kenyan market would revolutionize the livestock sector as we know it, providing investment opportunities in the livestock value chain.
Mine is to encourage the Kenyan investors in the livestock sector. The gazettement opens an avenue of opportunities for you so that you're able to see one more revenue stream coming up.
Research and development is the way to go for countries hit by global warming that has seen productivity in traditional species drop. Judith Akolo, KBC, Channel 1.
From buffalo meat on our plates, let's now make sense of the numbers in the business news. Smallholder farmers in Migori County are calling on policymakers to create laws and policies that will protect indigenous crops as Kenya adopts growing of genetically modified crops. Kenya Peasant League chairperson Raila Odinga says indigenous crops are key in helping avoid reliance on multinationals for seeds.
The High Court dismissed consolidated petitions challenging a cabinet order to lift a 10-year ban on genetically modified organisms in November last year. However, the decision has been challenged in the Court of Appeal, with the petitioners keen to have the court halt cultivation and importation of GMO crops until proper stakeholder consultations are undertaken. Smallholder farmers in Migori are calling for regulations that will preserve local indigenous seeds.
We are urging the government that let us not be lenient to the multinational corporations, and let us listen to the views of the Kenyans and the cries of the Kenyans, because we have the organic seeds within our country.
The Kenya Peasant League says indigenous seeds are suited to Kenya's ecosystem and are part of the country's identity.
If the GMO is being imported in Kenya, where do farmers in Kenya going to take their seeds? Where are we going to sell our foods?
Nchi wa Kenya tuangalie kwa macho, turudi kwa kilimo yetu ya kitambo na kuhakikisha kwamba tunakuza chakula yetu.
They argue that protection of indigenous crops would help reduce reliance on multinationals and enhance Kenya's food sovereignty.
And these small-scale food producers, in most cases, they are doing organic farming. So when the GM crops come into the country, one is going to interfere with the seeds, organic seeds, and two, we don't know their status.
Benson Ruba reporting for Lunchtime News.
Now, Cooperative Bank of Kenya is the first lender to reduce its lending rate in line with the Central Bank of Kenya's move last week to cut the benchmark lending rate and the cash reserve ratio. Cooperative Bank of Kenya has announced a reduction of its benchmark lending rate from 16.5% to 14.5%.
Policy makers at the Central Bank on Wednesday last week reduced the benchmark lending rate to 10.75%, the lowest in a year. In addition, the policy makers further reduced the cash reserve ratio from 4.25% to 3.25% to free up more cash held by commercial banks for lending the private sector to stimulate economic activity. In response, Cooperative Bank of Kenya has become the first lender to reduce its lending rate, offering its existing and new customers a 2% lower lending rate. In a statement, Cooperative Bank Group Managing Director Gideon Muruki says, and I quote, Coop Bank Group is pleased to announce a significant 2% reduction in our base lending rate from 16.5% per annum to 14.5% per annum, end of quote. Cooperative Bank of Kenya decision to reduce lending rates is intended to stimulate credit growth to key sectors of the economy, notably the micro, small and medium-sized enterprises that are a critical engine to drive and sustain economic growth. The reduction in lending rates comes at a time when households and businesses are grappling with the high cost of living. However, individual borrowers will be charged different lending rates based on their credit score as well as borrowing and repayment history. Muruki said, and I quote, The effective lending rate would be the base lending rate of 14.5% per annum, plus a margin of between 0% per annum to 4% per annum based on the individual customer's credit profile. End of quote. The reduction in the base lending rate by Cooperative Bank is expected to trigger similar moves by other commercial banks in coming days. Frederick Muki for Lunchtime News.
Beyond borders now, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced plans to impose a 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports into the country. This marks another major escalation in his trade policy. The move, which will take effect immediately after his formal announcement on Monday today, is expected to have significant economic implications, particularly for Canada and Mexico, which are the U.S.'s largest steel trading partners. These and more in our International Business News Roundup. That story on the U.S. tariffs will be coming to you a little bit later. Back home, the Kenya Tourism Board has rolled out a nationwide campaign to promote Kenya's diverse tourism offerings by highlighting hidden gems beyond traditional circuits. The campaign, that is being done in collaboration with the Tour Operators Society of Kenya, aims to establish sustainable tourism practices and set up tourism information centers at key entry points.
Kenya recorded 2.3 million tourist arrivals in 2024, with the government now targeting 3 million visitors this year. This will be attained by diversifying tourism products, enhancing destination marketing, and strengthening regulatory frameworks to foster sustainable growth. To drive this agenda, the Kenya Tourism Board has partnered with the Tour Operators Society of Kenya in a joint marketing initiative. The two entities will collaborate on nationwide destination promotion campaigns through roadshows, familiarization trips, and digital marketing strategies to showcase Kenya's hidden tourism gems.
Continued to work together. We have seen the areas we've partnered. We've engaged us in most of our initiatives, our programs, and we will continue to work together, because it's key for us to ensure that we are tapping into the MSME. We are actually living to the government agenda of bottom-up.
Kenya Tourism Board Chief Executive Officer June Chepkemei emphasized the role by tour operators within the micro, small and medium-sized enterprise sector in unlocking Kenya's full tourism potential. She highlighted the use of both traditional and digital platforms to attract local and international travelers. The collaboration also focuses on promoting sustainable tourism practices, setting up tourism information centers at key entry points, and advocating for favorable tourism policies. Wairi Mujenga for Lunchtime News.
And in the sports arena now, preparations are almost complete for the 4th edition of the Kericho Classic World Cross Country Tour, set for Lobo Village in Kapseret on the 22nd of this month. The event is the only gold-level cross-country meet in Africa.
Of the Kericho Classic Cross Country has already been done, with few changes expected, including obstacles to make it more interesting. Top athletes from Africa and Europe have been invited for this year's edition, which will also conclude the cross-country season for local athletes.
We have a lot of athletes that have already confirmed, and that is why it meets the requirement as per World Athletics that if you have to have a level called race, then definitely you have to have athletes from different countries, and of course the prize money and other areas that is required is met. So this is one of the best cross country that we have had so far, and it is the leading in Africa.
A total of 15.2 million shillings will be up for grabs in this year's championship, with the winners of the 10-kilometer races set to pocket 960,000 shillings, 800,000 shillings for silver medalists, and 640,000 shillings for bronze medalists.
When you are designing a cross country, you design a cross country, and it's the organizers to design. So long as it's not going to hurt the athletes, you can do anything in the 2-kilometer loop. So the artificial hills which we had last year are there. We are going to have some area we are putting hay. There is something which we had in Chepsaita. We borrow from each other.
Athletics Kenya has urged the invited athletes to take advantage of home support and win the prize money, as well as use it to prepare for the season ahead of the World Athletics Championship to be held in Tokyo, Japan in September.
There will be a lot of entertainment at the venue. There will be a lot of information and meeting of the champions that will be coming to attend this event. So everybody is invited for this event, and this year it will be better, and it is getting better as the time goes.
New winners in the 10 kilometers are expected in this year's championship after the withdrawal of Daniel Ebenyo Simiyu, who won the men's race, while Immaculate Anyango, who emerged the winner of the women's competition, is suspended for doping.
Now, Bandari Youth and KNCP Queens were crowned the football champions at the Coast edition of the 2024-2025 Betika Bingwa Fest, which culminated at the Mbaraki Sports Club on Sunday. Hunters Hill Women and Mombasa Sports Club were the rugby champions.
Bandari Youth and KNCP Queens ended the Coast Region Bingwa Fest competition with the football titles in their hands. Yusuf Ali China scored the only goal for Bandari in the 26th minute of the game as the home team beat Simba Apparel 1-0, with Phoebe Baraza scoring the lone goal in the ladies' final for KNCP against Changamwe's Destined Ladies. Hunters Hill Women and Mombasa Sports Club emerged the rugby men's and women's champions respectively. Hunters Hill hammered Mazera Starlets 51-0 in the women's final, as Mombasa Sports Club narrowly edged to Marines 5-0. Winners in the football and rugby disciplines pocketed 1 million shillings each, while the winning teams in the 3-on-3 basketball went home with 500,000 shillings each.
We are very happy as we head on to Nairobi for the last edition before the finals. We are very encouraged by the numbers we are seeing, both in terms of participants and fans as well. So we are telling Nairobi to be ready for us. We will be announcing the dates and venues soon.
The first runners-up for football and rugby were awarded 500,000 shillings each, while the second runners-up rounded off the prize category, receiving 250,000 shillings each. In the 3-on-3 basketball, the Money team lived to their name to pocket 500,000 shillings after edging the Unicorns 12-11 in the women's final. Athletics did not take place over the weekend to avoid a clash with the cross-country national championship that was held on Saturday in Eldoret. This was the penultimate chapter of the competition before the national championship.
Further afield, Aston Villa coach Unai Emery has praised the performances of both Marcus Rashford and Marco Asensio after the duo made their debuts off the bench against Tottenham in the FA Cup fourth-round match last night. Fellow new signing Andres Garcia and Daniel Malen also started the fixture as Villa went on to progress into the fifth round with a 2-1 win at Villa Park. I'll be getting to you in our subsequent bulletins and more news which we are preparing for you in our newsroom. But that's it for the Lunchtime News this afternoon. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Betty Kiptum and Lucy Moura is my colleague on the sign language interpretation. Have yourself a lovely afternoon. Bye-bye.
are in Lagos, Nigeria. And would you believe me if I told you that this country has over 300 ethnic groups? That's crazy to think about. And with that comes over 500 languages, making this one of the most diverse countries in the world. But that diversity can sometimes get in its own way, resulting to tribalism. And our question today is, can this country overcome it? And what can the older folk learn from the younger people? Who better to ask than fellow Nigerians? Thank you all for joining us. But before we begin, I'd like to ask a general question. How many of you here have experienced tribalism directly or indirectly? Let me see, by show of hands. Okay, so quite a fair amount of you. Let's start with you, Emmy. What was that experience like, if you don't mind sharing?
I would say that it was very uncomfortable because essentially we are such a huge nation and we have so many languages. So hearing that you cannot have an opportunity to do something because you're from a minority tribe or from a tribe that is not central was actually very uncomfortable for me.
So was this something that happened where you were denied a service or you were denied work? Give us some few more details.
Okay, so the situation was I was in a relationship with someone and I was not allowed to marry this person because he was from another tribe. So it was kind of, uncomfortable. It was back and forth between families. But you don't know this person as I know him. So it's about the people, not about where they're from or what their people are like or what their people have done, etc., etc.
Walking around Nigeria today, I can't distinguish between an Igbo, a Yoruba, a Hausa. So how does it manifest in contemporary Nigerian life?
The other day I was online and then someone, said that the Yoruba tribe formed or made, Nollywood, which is the third biggest movie industry in the world. People were saying, oh, no, this one was struggling. It's the Igbos. And this person said, no, it's the Hausas. Right now on social media, you can see people insulting themselves, people throwing jabs at each other when, given that you're Hausa, you're Yoruba, you're Igbo, it should not be a problem at all.
Yeah. Okay, so you asked a very important question. Why the need to identify along tribal lines and not just as Nigeria, as Nollywood, as Afrobeats? Let's ask Henry here because he works for a national agency of orientation, which is basically supposed to unite Nigerians. There's nothing intrinsically wrong with identifying with your tribe, is there? So where does the challenge come in?
Just like what she has said, a lot of things are now happening on social media that is bringing back the memories that have been healed over tribalism back into our system.
Okay, let me talk to somebody who knows a little bit about social media, Samuel, who's a digital strategist. So does this imply then that it's young people, because they're the ones who are majority on social media, who have inherited this disease of tribalism?
Nigeria has about 300 ethnic groups, 500 languages. If you put people of different beliefs in the same place, there's bound to be disagreements, right? I think it's just generally natural that those things would happen. And the younger people don't really care about the differences. If you ask everybody, we don't really care, right? The younger people have their own culture, their own belief systems, and I think this will thrive at the end of the day.
Okay, so I'm hearing here, I'm going to come to you just a second. I'm hearing a lot of, we're really not tribalists, we don't care what tribe you come from, and yet you're telling me that in your politics, sometimes even in your relationships, tribalism is seeping through. Why is that? Let me hear from someone at the back here.
So I witnessed tribalism when I was still in secondary school. A friend of mine who was my namesake, but he was a Delta Igbo, he was not from across the Niger. I was across the Niger. And we got the same cut of McKinney Ben. Engineering. He got it, I didn't get. Started questioning and everything. I went through different places. I started hearing that, because I'm from Delta, my cut-off mark has to be higher than a certain level. It's happening on a secondary level. At that level, education. Imagine what's going to happen, politics, business, every other thing. So I think National Orientation Agency, I don't think they've addressed all these issues.
Well, here is the National Orientation Agency.
Okay, but I will tell you that National Orientation Agency is doing a lot. We are the government.
But he's saying you're doing nothing.
That's what I'm about to tell you. We are the only government agency, apart from security agency, that is present in all the 774 local governments to ensure that, yes, such things are curtailed. And one of them is Federal Character Commission.
Okay.
I don't think the government plays a role in this. I think it is us. Who makes up the government? Individuals. Who makes up the system we're complaining about? Individuals. So these people, you, me, if one of us, they said it takes one person to change a situation. Who is the government? I think we should just stop saying it. It's annoying.
So you see, I said something and we just saw it play out right now. Now she was offended because she's from Cross River State and they said she was Igbo. Is there any crime being an Igbo person? Actually, there's no crime. So no, hold on. I'm going somewhere. Hold on, I'm going somewhere. I know, I'm going somewhere. You got a bit of